This conference will now be recorded.
Yes, guys. So before we get start the session, let me introduce myself for a few seconds. Then this session I'm not going to get you bored, So what are the things I'm going to teach and where you are going to apply and what you can expect from this session. I will set the expectations as well as the what are the things you are going to learn, where you are going to apply, and during this classroom phase, what kind of applications you are going to develop. Do you get really hands-on experience or not, and where these applications are going to be deployed. So I'll show you the previous batches, what are the examples they have taken, they have done. I'll take those examples, I'll demo that. That's a part one. The second part is at any point of time, if you have any question, you can stop me, or if you need something you want to learn apart from that, whatever we are going to cover, if you want to learn something new, so you can ask those things, and if it is really required, yeah, definitely we'll consider that, and if that content can be added. These are the two things. Yeah, let me introduce myself. I'm Lakshman, and having 12 years in experience with the J2J, Java and J2W technologies. At present, I work for the product-based company, and during the what other time I get that I'll be teaching this online sessions, and sometimes I do offline sessions as well. And I have trained more than 5,000 students in Bangalore alone. Yeah, so I'm a Sun certified, and I have done my Sun certification in the year 2008. Yeah, 2008 I have done that. That time Java 5 was the version. Yeah. So this is about me a little background. So my job is current role is like now I'll be taking care of the team of some 8 people and completely into the core development side. Yeah. Now, when it comes to the course content, what I'm going to cover, just I'll show you that and what you can expect that. So when you are going like this program, it will be assumed as you are a beginner, even though you have some experience, because always the batch will be combination of the beginners and the some few people already they know Java. Few people maybe they know Java, they want to enhance their skills. Yeah, this is a mix of all the people will be there in the batch most of the time, majority of the times. So that's where we get start from the scratch. Okay, we will write our application from the core Java. We are going to write it here. Like no, you will be introduced to the a simple terms. I can say that here. Let me open the notepad. You will be no. Okay, you will be introduced to the what is programming. From there, we will start here and the getting familiar with the dev environment. Like you will be introduced to the how we are going to use the IDE effectively. So where here we are going to use the IDE, we'll use the Eclipse. Okay, Eclipse, you'll use it here. You need not to use the Eclipse. If you are already familiar with this, whatever your favorite IDE, you can continue with that. And before going to that, we'll be learning about the Java, what are the Java and what is the main components are JDK, and then we'll be introduced to the JRE. So what is the difference between JRE and JDK, how we are going to use it here. And this Java will be introduced with you. I'm planning to do the session from the Java 16. The industry is using the, yeah, yeah, go ahead, yeah. Somebody has a question? Okay. Fine. So Java, currently industry is adopting the Java 8. So we can get start with the Java 16. There is a in between eight versions are there. So that is okay. As like you are learning the first time, you can directly start with the Java 16. You can start with that. Some of the new features are added in Java 16. We'll get started with Java 16. Yeah. And then once you get familiar with the IDEs and the dev environment to learn core Java, at least you should know how to work with the Eclipse and how you are going to use the JDK and JRE. You are going to use it here. And at the same time, you will be introduced to the build tool Maven. So I'll introduce the, when you're learning the core Java, the Maven will be introduced. Then followed by you are going to learn about the JUnit. These are main concepts you can expect the when you're learning the core Java. When you're learning the core Java, so generally we don't create a core Java applications like just creating the core Java as a project. Then you will write the main method. That is approach you take it generally. But we don't follow that approach. So we will try to write the JUnit test cases in order to test whether our logics are working or not. Yeah, these are the things you can expect in the core Java. Once we're done with the core Java, before going to the advanced concepts, then you will be introduced to the database. These databases, these days, every company expectations is you should know one SQL database, one NoSQL database. One NoSQL database. This NoSQL database I'll be introducing with the MongoDB, and this SQL database I'll introduce with the Postgres. I'll introduce with the Postgres SQL I'm going to introduce here. Postgres are like you can use the MySQL, whatever you want. Okay, then you are going to use the Oracle or MS SQL. There are so many things are there. Here you have a Derby. You can list a lot of things, but we have to stick with the one. I'll go with the Postgres SQL. I'm going to use that here. And when you're using the NoSQL databases, there is a CouchDB, then there is the Google have got the big table like this. There are so many NoSQL databases are available in the market. But the most widely used one these days is either Cassandra or MongoDB is the most widely used. And we'll go with the MongoDB. I'm going to cover in this when I'm covering the databases. Then we are going to learn about the JDBC. So what is the JDBC? How we are going to work with the JDBC, and here how we are going to connect your Java application with the MongoDB. These things you can expect with the databases. Okay, Java application connecting with the MongoDB. Okay, MongoDB. This is what you can expect when you're learning the databases. Once you've done with the database concepts, and we are done with that, then we are going to learn about the server-side programming. You are going to learn about server-side programming. We are going to learn when you're learning the server-side programming, where you will be introduced to the servlet. Before that, you are going to introduce to the UI, a little bit of UI, HTML, and then we are going to introduce to the CS and the JavaScript. JS will be introduced. So once you learn these concepts, then you are going to learn about the servlet and JSP. So this is a place where you will be introduced to the web servers and app servers. You will be introduced here. Web servers and app servers you will be introduced. So this is the things you can expect that here. And here you are going to make the end-to-end on application. You are going to create that here. Once you learn that, you will be introduced to the one end-to-end application. Once you are done with these things, then we are going to the enterprise technologies. When you are using the enterprise technologies, where our main concentration will be giving it the Spring framework. The Spring framework will be the main focus. The Spring framework will be introduced with the Spring Boot. You will be introduced with the Spring Boot. You are going to introduce, and the core concepts, whatever the core concepts are required. The Spring Core, and then you have got a MVC, then the AOP, then you will be introduced to the JPA, then you are going to write the MVC, then REST, we are going to take here the REST module and security. Okay, then you are introduced to the JDBC. Okay, JPA, before JPA will introduce the JDBC will be introduced, security and batch. And here you can say that how you are going to work with the messaging servers like ActiveMQ, Okay, ActiveMQ. Then I'll explain that, like, how we are going to use the Kafka. Yeah, Apache Kafka, how we are going to use it here. These are the things we will be covering here. And it has a hibernate concepts. Hibernate. Okay, when you take the hibernate, so when you are taking the hibernate, so this hibernate concepts will be, most of the things will be covered in when I'm teaching the JPA. Okay, so this hibernate also, you can expect that the hibernate concepts will be, before we are going to the JPA, almost all the concepts will be covered in here. So this is a ORM framework. Yeah, the ORM frameworks and hibernate you will be introduced. Once you've done this, all these things, now what I'm going to use this and where I'm going to apply this knowledge, you will develop a one application. You will develop an end-to-end application. You're going to develop that. And when you're developing these applications, you will be introduced to the, when you are started the Gradle, this is also a build tool. So we got familiar with the Maven by the time. Now we are going to use the another build tool, which is you can say that now little advanced version of the Maven. We can say that here, which uses the Gradle scripts. It uses here. You will be introduced to the Gradle, and you will be introduced to the Sonar Cube. Okay, so sorry, Sonar Cube. So this is Sonar Cube is which is a static source code analyzer. And then you are going to introduce to the Jenkins, how we are going to use the Jenkins, and writing the unit test cases, unit and integration testing. Integration testing, how we are going to do that. These are the things you will be introduced. And at the same time, what are the application you are going to build it here? That application need to be deployed. That application needs to be deployed. And for that, you are going to, I'll be introducing the runtime environment. Runtime environment where you can use the either AWS, yeah, AWS, or you can use the Heroku. Okay, so when you're getting with the MongoDB, we are going to use the Mongo Atlas. These are the cloud services. You are going to use the cloud services. Then you can say it as these are the DevOps related configurations. Like, you as a Java developer, you need not to know entire DevOps. At least you should aware of the what is the DevOps and the minimum you should have the familiar with the yeah. Before here, I missed one thing. You will be introduced to from the day one working with the JIT, working with the JIT. You are going to introduce here. Here, core Java, when you're learning itself, you are going to get familiar with the JIT and how you are going to maintain the version control of your application. It will be covered in this module itself. These are the things you can expect in the classroom sessions, and this session is going to be completely hands-on. Nothing will be, I will not be using any of the ready-made code. The 90% the code will be coded and in front of you, and that is going to be, application is going to be debugged. You may think that it's a time waste, taking the code snippets. When you're coding that, you'll face a lot of problems, and how we are going to solve those problems, I'll be introducing that. Now, once I'm done with the core Java, typically people will have the what kind of application am I going to develop? What kind of application I'm going to develop? This is a very, very simple example, just which I'm going to demo here. This is like just it is an employee management system, which will be having the okay, there are some employee operations you are going to perform. What are the basic operations you are performing? Just let me show you that here. Employee operation, where you have a menu-driven program, you are going to write it here. This is a completely CLI application. By using the JSE, you can develop the standalone application. This is what the application code has been written. And now here, when you run this application, just let me show you the output. Now run Java application, you're going to run it here. And this is going to run that here. Hey, this is employee management system. What do you want to do that? Whether you want to add, you want to view, you want to edit, what do you want to do that here? Suppose if I'm saying the two, it's going to show these are the employees which you have in the currently. Okay. Now, how to give this seed data? How are you going to provide this seed data? These are all the things. So the programmatically we are doing in the application, you are going to do it here. It is going to take the seed data. This is a place the seed data has been written, and you are going to get the seed data, and you will be writing the the business logics you are going, the logics you are going to write it here, exception handling, and how to make this class as a singleton class. Almost all the standards it has followed, and we are creating a simple application, sample application you are going to create, and how to define a custom exceptions. Yeah, how we are going to throw the custom exceptions. Like now here you have a exceptions. Like with the same email, you cannot add the two employees. So by mistake, if you are trying to add that, you should raise an exception. So this is what you can expect. By end of this core Java concepts, you will be in a position to develop the application. Now, one it is asking here, I'm going to add the Manoj, and here email address manoj.pvn, something I'm going to enter here, gmail.com. Okay, then you are asking, it is asking the mobile number, and which I'm going to give it as this is a mobile number. I'm saying here qualification, let's put it as MCA. Salary we are going to set as something, we are going to give it here. And please wait, it is saying that it is adding that, like no employee is added successfully. This ID it is saying here whether it is added or not, just you are going to check it here. This is the artificial delay. Okay, this is artificial delay. It is not like no real operation it is performing. And how do you introduce that artificial delay in real-time applications? You will have the, sometimes it will take the some time to process that. Okay, this is where you are adding the employee. When you're adding the employee, so you are going to take that add. So this is the employees.add method. You are going to take it here, and this is going to add this here. This is internally it uses the in-memory implementation, which is uses the collections it is using here. And you learn about the each container object, how we are going to use it here. And here you are going to learn, there will be a multiple classes, how we are going to solve that. You will be introduced to that. Okay, this is what you can expect when you are learning the core Java. A minimum you are going to create a CLI application. May not be the same application, you may build the similar application, you are going to build it here. By end of the core Java, you will be learning this is what. Once you learn the database, you will not hard code the values. The same application, you will push this data into the database, and then you will perform the DB operations you will perform. What are the application we are using in core Java? Once you learn with the databases, you are going to use the same thing with the SQL database and NoSQL databases. You are going to use it here. Both the layers you will develop, and depends on the what runtime environment you require, you are going to connect with the particular the DO classes. You will connect that. So this is our application you can develop here. Now, when it comes to the servlets and JSP, when you are learning the servlets and JSPs, so you will be developing the one shopping cart application you are going to develop here. Okay, this shopping cart application, this application is not running now. Might be some my credentials might have changed. Okay, my DB credentials might have changed. That's the reason it is not running. If it runs, that's good. Oh, it is running. Okay, no, it is not running. So there is something Hibernate dialect problem. It is saying that this has done with the Hibernate. It has done that here, and where you can see the shopping cart application, you can see that here. Okay, so anyway, this application needs to be debugged. So it is not running. I'm not going to that here. Like once you learn the Spring, or once you learn the UI, what kind of application you are going to develop here? When you're learning the UI, this is a minimum thing you can expect here. Suppose if you are a IPL fan, like you want to know which team has more bowlers, more batsmen. You want to get this information. Okay, you are going to ask the DC. So in DC, who are the main players? Like how many bowlers, how many batsmen? Like you select the team, you will get a particular the team details. You will get it here. This application is developed in the Angular. Okay, the Angular it is developed here, but you will do with the JavaScript. The pure JavaScript you will use it, and you are going to do that using the JavaScript. And the backend, these applications are running in a Heroku server. Okay, currently whatever I am demoing this application, which is running in Heroku, and this is the front end. Here we are going to use the front end. This front end can be anything. Either you can use the JavaScript, or you can use the Angular, you can use the mobile, whatever you want to use it here. Now here you are going to write a server-side application. This server-side application you will write by using the Spring Boot. You are going to use the Spring Boot application. You are going to write it here. The Spring Boot application you will be writing, and this Spring Boot application you are deploying into the the cloud environment called the Heroku. Okay, this Heroku is equivalent to the AWS. It may not be as comprehensive as the AWS, but to run your application, what are the tools are required, they are going to provide, and it's a free of cost. Like, as a whenever you are developing the hobby projects, I would recommend you people to go and deploy into the Heroku. But certainly it has got the certain limitations. Certainly it has got the certain limitation because it's a free. So then there is some limitations are there. Then at the same time, it uses the database called the MongoDB. Now my application is using the database called the MongoDB. The MongoDB cloud service is Mongo Atlas. This is also free of cost. You need not to pay anything, or you need not to give the credit card details. By using the Mongo Atlas, this my Heroku, the application which is deployed in Heroku will talk to the my Mongo Atlas cloud. It is going to talk to that, and finally, what are the data or what are the modeling you are processing, that will be given to the UI. And this UI application is developed in Angular, and this can be deployed in another cloud application. It is deployed, and it is deployed in you can deploy in Firebase. One of the tool is the Firebase. Yeah, Firebase, or you can use the GitHub Pages. Okay, GitHub Pages, you can use it here. GitHub Pages, you are going to use it here. This UI application also deployed in the cloud. Everything is you are going to deploy into the cloud. You are going to deploy here. So what are the applications you are going to develop? All applications. We not only developing the application, you deploy into the servers. And whenever you face the issues, and we'll go and look at the how to work with the log files. Yeah, how we are going to use the SLF4J, the logging frameworks, how we are going to use it here, like So these all the things you'll get familiar with that. When the server some issues are facing, you need to go and look at your logs, how to look at the logs, and how you are going to debug your application. And by using that logs will help you a lot to know what is happening in your application. So these all the things you will get familiar when you're learning the advanced concepts. And at the same time, when you're creating the APIs, you are going to create it here. How to create a Swagger documentation. So suppose if I'm taking here for this UI developer, I need to expose my APIs. Otherwise, you will not know about that. What API to in order to get these team names, I have to call some API. In order to get this information, I need to call one more API. So here I need to get the one more API, which we have to you are displaying it as a chart. To do that, we need to enable we need to provide this Swagger documentation. This is the API documentation. So how we are going to use the API documentation, how to generate the API documentation in your project. So these things will be introduced. These are the main things I'm going to cover this whatever the course we are going to planning to do that. Yeah. So far, any questions? Any questions or any concerns?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah.
Hello.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
I can hear
would you please let us know about even the Angular also? You teach us?
So Angular is not a part of that. Yeah, if it is a majority of them, you guys ask that as a Java developer, what are the things it's required? I may introduce that.
But I just wanted to know whether the basic thing. I just wanted to learn the basic program first, every meaning of it.
Okay.
So that can you please explain me after the course starts?
Okay. Can you repeat once, please?
Yeah. For example, let's have a Java sample program. I just wanted to know about what is meant by public static void main and everything else.
Yeah, that's what I told at the beginning of the session. We will be getting start with the writing the hello world example. We'll get start with the what is a JDK, what is a JRE. Then we learn about the fundamentals of the programming. Then we'll go to the advanced concepts. Yeah. So the batch is going to start with the when I start my session, it will start with the hello world example. Yeah. So where you will be introduced to the what is a compiler and how you are going to compile your program, and once you run this program, what happens and how it will be executed. These all fundamental concepts will be introduced.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Vasavi, and I have a question. So after
Yeah.
completing this course,
Mhm.
how confident I would be to working in a real field, like real job? How much knowledge I will gain from this course, and how comfortable I will be when I'm working with Java or backend?
Yeah, got your question. See here, if you are attending the session, I can say that you will get a 1 or 2% confidence, not more than that.
Okay.
If you are practicing the what are the assignments I'm giving, what are the questions I'm asking to solve. If you are solving that, you will get the, so you can say that no, 60 to 70% you will get a confidence.
No, I
And when
mean,
you
what level would be like? I know you were saying 60 to 7 or 2%. It's
uh,
like what
yeah,
level of the
you
job?
can say that no, what are the assignments and what are the projects I'm giving. If you are solving that, you can climb the above 3 years experience.
About 3. All right.
Okay, about 3 to 5 years you can climb that.
Okay.
By provided that you are solving the what are the things like no, these all the what are the projects I demoed. So like these projects, I'll be giving you multiple things. When you're developing the projects, I'll be not only introducing the course, like no, what is the development approach you are going to take it here. Whenever you're developing the to-do application, like no, how you are going to design the class diagrams and what are the services you are going to take it here and what is the repositories you are going to use it here, how they are connected, how the relationships are maintained. So then at a high level, what is the architecture of your application? Everything will be discussed with you. Okay, this is the stripped down version of the any project, you can say that, you know. So when you are taking the, whether you are working in enterprise applications or small applications, this is a typical approach they follow that here. These all the things will be introduced to you.
So
So you
what,
can
what
climb the three to,
sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead. Wow.
So what are you saying?
So
You mean that, sorry, please go ahead.
no problem. You go. Yeah, your turn. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay. So what you're saying is that whenever we're working on a project, you're going to introduce us how is a real-time project is works in a business
Yes,
view
exactly.
or like that. Then you will explain to us how it's working and what our work will be like that.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
So we don't start with the like no directly the solution as such. Like no, first we'll take a problem statement. We'll discuss approach. Then we'll draw a layout of the how like no what are the classes you are going to use it here, interfaces, and diagrammatic representation of the entire your approach. Then finally we'll start working on that.
So how long it's going to take to reach that reach that point of the course? Like,
Uh,
so in the beginning you were not able to do all these, right? We have
yes,
time.
exactly. Yes. So this is going to take you 2 months.
Oh, okay. So how
Yeah.
long is the entire course will be? Like how?
It is going to be 75 hours.
Okay. Each day we have an hour or 2 hours for each day.
Hour and a half. Initially, first 1 week you will have the only 1 hour, like no, until we get familiar with that. Then followed by that, you will have the hour and a half. It will be.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
So it is, yeah.
Are you planning to take this time, or is you have any other time in the mind?
The timings would be, they would be informing you. So I still we haven't come to the conclusion that like no, so just the time will be informed. Probably it is going to be at 6 to 7:30. It will be morning in IST. Initially, it will
Okay,
be 6 to 7, and later it may be extended. It may extend to 6 to 7:30. Yeah.
sounds good.
The morning 6 o'clock. I think it doesn't. I think
Okay.
7 would be much fine if at all.
Yeah. First 1 week we have another commitment. So then probably after 1 week it may be the time may be pushed according to the participants who are asking what is the time they are seeking. We'll see that and we'll plan that. Yeah.
So is the course will be go based on your curriculum or based on the students' performance or like the flow of the students' learning process?
Whether how their students are performing, I that will be back and forth. It may happen,
Mhm.
but the thing is that the entire curriculum, whatever we promised, that will be delivered.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So some things needs to be repeated. That will be done. Okay, we are going to repeat that concept. Yeah. if something it's not clear, we'll be asked to. If they're asking, yeah, definitely we'll repeat that. And at the same time, you will be given a lot of assignment questions. Each topic will be given the assignment questions as well as the quizzes.
Sure.
Are you
And
planning to cover the design patterns too, Mallikarjun? Probably we will not cover all the design patterns, and like no, what are the design patterns are required and the commonly used design patterns will be discussed.
sure.
Okay, it is like
An
a single
average,
page.
how much homework will be like an average, like how much practice you will give us like homework as an homework?
It will occupy you a 1.5 hour day.
Okay. So
Yeah.
each class
So
has 1.5 hour. I mean, each class lecture and 1.5 hour as a study time.
yes,
Okay.
yes. So that depends. Like, no, if you are more interested, you want to do more assignments. If you put me a message in the chat, like, no, we can load with you more work. Yeah. Suppose if you are a whole day, you don't have any work and you're concentrating only on Java. So if you let us know that, like, so we can plan, we can give them more assignments and more some certification, Java certification point of view, how you can prepare. Those things can be helped.
Okay.
Yeah. Some other questions are. Yeah, go ahead.
See, my goal for this course is I want to do the Sun certification. I mean, will that be possible if I go through this course?
See, that is a certification also. Earlier there is only one certification. Now you have a two certifications. Yeah. So the basic and then advanced thing. Okay. P. Yeah. OCP, you have a part 1 and part 2 you have. So definitely the sessions, whatever I'm going to cover, the syllabus is too much towards the OCP exam. Yeah. If you're concentrating the sessions and the quiz questions, if you're solving that, this is going to help you to clear your OCP exam.
Okay.
You cover all the strings concepts also.
You cover all?
Strings concepts.
Spring.
String.
Yeah, these are the concepts which we are going to cover. Yeah. So this is the main concepts. Every developer must aware of that, and those things will be covered. Yeah. Some other questions has popped up.
Yes. So every student has a different level of learning, right? Some people know a little bit more than core Java than other people. So how do you handle them? Like if they know more about it, how do you handle them?
It is, that's what I'm saying, that like no, if you are already know Java and you want to enhance your skills, first 1 week, like no, you may feel this is like no, I know all these fundamentals. The moment you go to the advanced concepts, where you will be doing the assignments and you will be giving the like no, the more project oriented tasks I will be giving them. Like no, the person who knows Java, you can pick up those tasks and you can do that. Yeah.
Oh, so that
And
means you're saying that it depends
in
on your
the
level.
batch, I'm sorry.
So it depends on your level. You will assign them different assignments. Like each one is.
They will pick the assignments, depends on their level and which one will be challenging them. Okay. And
Okay.
individual monitoring, even if I'm promising also, it may not be that easy. Yeah. It is difficult. Yeah. Because we
So
have a 1.5 hour doing the monitoring and reviewing of the code, that may be challenging. So that's your personal interest as well. Whatever the assignments and all these things, picking that assignment, solving that, that's the way you'll go about that. Yeah,
So
you
what
have
will
asked.
happen after if you have any questions raised while you're working on a project? How do you like after that you will look into them or you will
I will take your screens. Suppose if it's really it is going bad, the situation, like no, you are unable to progress that.
Mhm.
So what you can do here, the next class, whenever we are meeting, I'll take the screen access and I will fix the in the classroom itself. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I start developing my own project like apps and stuff? Yes, you can do that. Yes, you can do that, Ashwant. Like once you get the core Java alone, you can develop these CLI tools. Like, in order to do your own applications and you want to deploy your hobby projects into the cloud and all these things, you must know one of the enterprise technologies like Spring or Spring. You should know that, and when you're learning the Spring, and you at the same time you should learn about the how you are going to connect with the databases, and how whether you want to develop the mobile application or UI application. You should decide that. And if you know UI applications, yeah, just you are going to use the Angular or React or Vue.js or simple JavaScript application you can develop, and where you are connecting your UI application with the server-side applications you are going to connect. By the moment we started J2EE, servlets and JSP, you can start developing your own applications. Yeah. Did I answer your question, Nashwant? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's a completely. I'm saying that it's a completely hands-on sessions, and you'll enjoy that. Yeah. Yeah. So the main things is, as a software engineer, once you are entering into the organizations, what are the things are required? You should know how to work with the source code repositories. That's a first important thing. The second one is you must aware of the build tools. You cannot do the manually every process. You should be using the build tools, either Maven or Gradle. Then you should familiar with the IDEs, integrated development environment. There are plenty of IDEs are available in the market. IntelliJ, then you have a Eclipse, then you have a Visual Studio Code, then we have a you can list that. Then you have a, what you can say, NetBeans. There are so many IDEs are available. Depends on the company. They will be using if the company is sound enough, they may use the IntelliJ IDE. That is the IntelliJ, they uses that because that is not free. You have to pay that license. And there is a community edition also. Community edition doesn't have all the features, whereas the Eclipse is free of cost. It's open source, and you can use it here. Majority of the small companies and who are encouraging the open source things, they will be using the Eclipse. And in these sessions, I am going to use the Eclipse as well as the Visual Studio Code. These two IDEs, I am going to use it here because we should get familiar with at least two IDEs. That's the thing. Once you get that, then you should get familiar with the deployment environment, where when you're deploying your applications, you cannot deploy manually. For that, you need to write a Jenkins jobs. You are going to write it here, how to write the Jenkins jobs. So we'll learn about that Jenkins, what is the Jenkins, and how we are going to do that. And at the same time, what are the code you have written? The code has to be, quality has to be checked. Manually, you cannot do the quality checks, whether you declare the variable names are proper or not. Is there any unnecessary variable names? Is there any null checks are you are doing or not? These all the things to do the static code analyzer. We'll use the Sonar Cube. How to use the Sonar Cube, you learn about that. And after that, what are the code you are writing here? When the code, when it is working, you shouldn't be celebrating that. You need to write a test cases for that. So in future, whenever somebody changes the code, whether the things are working or not, it has to be validated by using the JUnit. You are going to write the unit test cases you are writing here. Those unit test cases you will be introduced. And when you run the unit test cases, you should know whether is it covering the entire my logic or not. Whether this is covering the entire my logic or not, it should know about that. To do that, there is something plugins called the Jacoco plugin, which will tell you that what is the source code coverage. So these are the main things the people expect you to know that. At the same time, whenever the requirement is given, how we are going to conceptualize and how we are going to come up with the solution, this is also important. When client says that, no, I want a to-do application, this could be the very simple example. Now, in a client, when somebody says that I need to develop a to-do application. To-do application, when you're taking, what is the to-do? When the user is logging, he can see only his to-dos, and he can manage the his to-dos. It's like self-portal. The person registered with us, and he can create his own to-dos. The moment he registered, then we'll allow him to enter inside the system. And once he enter inside the system, what he can do, only he can manage his own to-dos. Previously, if he has created any to-dos, it is going to list that here, and he can manage whether he can delete or he can archive that. At the same time, he can update the dates. Yeah, this is what generally we do that to-do application. Okay. So now when he asks that, this is what I required. I have around 10,000 users I have in my some other application. Now what I want to make them like, they can manage their own to-dos. So can you develop this application? When somebody asks, how are you going to take this here? I'm going to, whether do I need to database or not? Do I need to use the database or not? And what technology I should use it here? Are you going to use it in some other, are you going to decouple your UI application or not? So you have to check with him. Once he tells that I want to decouple my server application from the UI. The reason is today is using the let's take it as a web. Tomorrow you want to develop the mobile application. So the same application can be used in a mobile application as well. So he's going to decouple that. When he's decouple, how we are going to develop that application? What technology you are going to choose that? Are you going to with the Java? And if I'm going with the Java, do I need to use the Spring, or without the Spring, can I solve this? So all these things you have to consider that. And finally, you understood the requirements, then you are going to design the class diagrams. You are going to design here. Hey, user will have the list of to-dos, and you may have, you may not have it also. 0 to many, you are going to say it here. 0 to many, we are going to say it here. And if user is deleted, automatically his to-dos also has to be deleted here. This is the composition, we are going to use it here. Then to write my business logic related to user information, then we are going to use the users, and to store the database, you are going to use the user repositories. So this is at a high level. I'll write a diagram, then I'll start like now how my deployment is going to happen. Like now my application, I am going to take it as a Heroku. I'm deploying here my cloud service or AWS. My controllers will talk to the services. Services will talk to the repositories. Repositories internally talk to the databases. And finally, what are the data I get it here? What are the UI application? If you made a request, I'm going to give the response, my model response, and this UI application will render for the client. So this is the approach I'm going to take it here, and then you will start developing the application. Yeah. Yes. More or less, I'm done for the demo session. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer your question. Yeah, this is the approach we'll be taking here.
When you said earlier about the AWS environment, what exactly you mean? I'm sorry.
Okay. See here, once you develop this application, you are going to do the packaging. Am I correct? So
yeah.
This what are the application you developed? Then you will be doing the packaging. You are going to do it here. This package,
okay.
you have to deploy that. The packaging can be done it as a jar. It can be done it as a war. It can be done it as a Docker container. Yeah. This Docker container, war or jar, it needs to run somewhere. In order to make it accessible to outside the or by using the web, if you want to access that. So this application has to be run it in some Java environment where it will be accessible. So that is the places where we use the AWS. So to take this.
So are you going to? I'm sorry. Are you going to package the jar into a Docker file and create an image and deploy it on the AWS, or what's the plan that you have at the end of the course?
We will I'm going to use the Heroku. I'll be concentrating here. Yeah. In the Heroku or AWS, if you are doing also, okay, fine. Let me stick with one thing. Heroku, when you are doing here, Heroku has got the Bitbucket pipelines they have given. It will take the directly from your GitHub repository. It is going to take the source code. It will deploy into your Heroku server. It's going to deploy. You will tell that Heroku server, hey, where my source code is available, and at the same time you will say small configurations. Whenever the code is pushed, you deploy and you go and fetch the code and deploy into my server. You are going to do the configurations. If not, you may do that. Hey, I don't want to do the automatic deployment. I will do the manually. The moment you push the code, and then if you want to do the new deployment, then you will go and trigger a deploy button, which is going to deploy your application into the Heroku. If you are using the Heroku, that is the approach we will take it. If you are using the AWS, either we can go with the jar file. We'll create it as a Spring Boot application as a jar file. That jar file will deploy into the AWS. Okay. So if we are using the Docker, you will take a Docker file, you will build your application as a Docker image you will build, and you will take that jar file, Docker file, and you will deploy into the AWS. So one thing is you can connect with the Docker repository, you can connect, and or you can tell to the AWS, hey, this place my Docker image is available, you pick that, you can say that. So I will be covering that, building the jar file and deploying into the AWS, building the Docker file, deploying into the AWS, and at the same time Heroku. Three approaches I'll be showing that. And how much AWS you are going to cover? If you're asking me, no, I'm not going to cover any of the AWS concepts. Whatever is required for the deploying your application, those concepts will be covered.
Sure, that sounds good. Now I'm just curious.
Yeah. Okay. So any other questions?
Sorry, one more thing, last thing. For the advanced concepts, when I say advanced concepts, Java collection framework and Java multi-threading and all those things, how deep are you going to go deep into that?
You can expect in collection framework, the advanced concepts, whatever. Yeah. When you take the collections, you will be introduced to the list, and the main concepts I'm going to cover the set, and here we are going to cover the map. Okay, this is the three classes we'll extensively use, and another one is the properties. Okay, can you go off? Somebody microphone is on, there is a noise. Can you go on mute, please? Yeah. Okay, thank you. So now here, when you are covering here, I'll be covering the streams. Okay, and you will be learning about the how you are going to use the streams, and at the same time how you will be using with the Lambda. When you're working with the lambdas, how you are going to apply lambdas in Java 8 streams. When you're using here the uses of the lambdas, we are going to learn about that. And at the same time, when it comes to this map, almost all the classes I'm going to touch that here, like hash table, hash map, concurrent hash map, and when to use the concurrent hash map, when to use the hash map, yeah, and what is the internals of the map, how it works, and at the same time set, how we are going to avoid the duplicate elements, custom objects when you're storing, how would be adding, how would be defining this set implementations. At the same time, you will take one simple scenario I'll give the CSV file. Okay, just I'm saying here, read the CSV file and dump data into the collections. Then you get me the unique. You are going to say that unique data you want to get it here. Okay, so then what collections you are going to use it here, and when to use the list, when to use the set, and how we are going to sort the elements in set, how we are going to sort the elements in the list. Okay, what is the comparator, comparable, how we are going to use those concepts, and these all the concepts will be covered from the fundamentals to the advanced concepts. And internally, when you're using applications, what are the typical the collection usages, I will be explaining that. When it comes to the threads, yes, you will be introduced to the thread and how your thread is going to start, and then service executor, and you will be introduced to the asynchronous calls, how we are non-blocking calls, how we are going to make that by using the feature and completable feature. Even those advanced concepts also will be introduced.
Sure, thank you, Lakshman.
Yeah.
One second.
Yeah.
Right now I'm a student. I don't know about the real-time experience, what environment at all. Will I be aware of the real-time projects and everything?
See here, we will. That's what I'm saying. That as any software engineer, okay, the first thing is you should get familiar with the source code repositories, then build tools, then the DevOps tools. A little bit of the DevOps tools you should get familiar with that. Okay, all these things we'll introduce from the day one. The day one, once you enter into the project, like now how we are going to check out the code, and how you will make modification, how we are going to commit your code and pushing into the GitHub repositories. When there is a conflict, how we are going to solve that. All these things practically I will be introducing that. Yeah. Yeah, Funny, did I answer your question? One thing is I'm telling that like no, you need to give a time and you need to like no. So attending the class, yeah, most of you, anybody will do that. Like no, if you are not practicing, definitely it is not going to help you that. So the day one, when you start the session, taking the examples and practicing that, getting familiar with the environments. So these all the things will happen by practice. Yeah. So when you are planning to climb some experience, even though you don't have that experience, you have to put a lot of efforts to get familiar with that and start taking the problems and solving those problems. Those are all the things you should be doing that. Yeah. You can go and do like fork somebody code and you can become a contributor for that, and if that guy accepts that your request, if you have done a good job, and you will review your code and you will accept that. Yeah, there are a lot of options are available. Even though you're not working for any organization, you want to become a contributor for the open source projects. It can be a small contribution, people are ready to take that. Yeah.
Sir, I have a query.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was graduated in 2018, and after 3 years of my graduation, I wasn't doing any job. Right now, I
Mhm.
want to get into a software developer position because I'm lagging skill set. I was not able to find a good position in software, but I am a
Mhm.
computer science student. So now, is
Mhm.
it possible for me to get into the industry and make my career?
Definitely you can do that, like no, so ensure that you have a very good skill set. Yeah, so you
Yeah,
can.
thank you.
Yeah, so like no, you have to show the you are different from the others. Like no, you should take some open source projects, develop some projects, and you can put it in your profile saying that no, these are the things I have developed, and you can you can say that you are having the, even though you don't have experience, have you are equivalent to 3 years experience. That's a work you should project to the what are the interviews you are going to attend. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
Sir,
So
will this
climbing
Java, will this after this class, will you assist in getting us placed in any of the Fortune 500 companies or any of the software companies, or you just give us the training and you will leave us to find the job for ourselves?
uh, I think you may not like my answer. Like, no, we are going to give you the training, and at the same time, how to survive in the projects we are going to enable you. But we are not going to find a jobs for you. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
If
sir.
there is
Okay.
if there is any references, we may refer you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, sir. I got it. Thank you.
Welcome. Are you planning to cover microservices too? Um, I can say no as a part of the course. Uh, like no, if majority of people are looking for that, and one weekend I will cover the microservices. Yeah. Once you're done with the course, so still you want microservices, majority people are looking for that, we may cover. Okay. Yeah, one thing guys, remember that like no, when you are started any course, when you're learning that no, just we know all the jargons and we want to learn a lot of things. That's a human tendency. First to start with the baby steps. Okay, go ahead one by one. Now then once you learn all the things, you will know what to learn next. And you will be clear about that. Even like no, next Sunday my microservices session is happening. Like no, somebody if wants you can attend that. But thing is that without knowing the fundamentals, if you're learning the microservices, you feel it is difficult, or you feel the advanced concepts in learning, it will be difficult. Okay, please go the proper structure you go here. Start with the core Java, learn about the databases, learn about the UI, then you learn about the serverless and JSPs. And then this may not be people are using these days, but still it will give you the fair understanding of the serverless and JSPs will give the fair understanding of the how web works. Then you start with the Spring framework. Okay, this is a like no. These days it became you can say that no Spring became the de facto standards for the Java applications. Every application they are getting started with the Spring framework, and that too they are starting with the Spring Boot. The Spring Boot is something really it has solved a lot of pain points in creating and managing your Spring application. So that's one advantage of using the Spring Boot. So once you learn these things, once you got familiar with all these concepts, then you think about the learning the microservices, learning about the advanced concepts. Yeah. Thank you guys. I hope I have given these some inputs. Yeah. And if you have
Sir,
any
what
question,
will be the duration of the course?
it's going to be 2 months.
Okay, and what are the charges for 2 months, sir?
Okay, you can speak with the Lakshmi. She will give the more details about those details. Yeah. Regarding
Okay,
the course content and delivery of the session, if you have any questions, you can ask me. I can answer those questions. Yeah.
okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you, guys. And so the session is going to start from 6 to 7 a.m. IST of July. That means that is a tomorrow. Yeah.
Yep, thank you.
1 second, sir. The only
Yeah.
problem is the timing, sir. But 6 o'clock, I think.